Alrighty, so we will start out now to create this button here and create this circle. And there are some ways, of course, in every 3D application to create holes. I will show you one first of all. Let's jump to the perspective view and let's just simply disable this object in the viewport for now that we have modeled. Let's just simply double click here on this round point here. Let's close the subdivision surface and click on this, double click. And like this, it just simply gets hidden, but we can still see it in the render view sort. So if we click here, you can see it's still there. So if you want to have it hidden in the render view as well, we can just simply make a double click here as well, and then it's completely gone in the scene. But anyway, doesn't really matter. Let's drop in a cube, and let's drop in a cylinder for now. And let's move this over here. Let's click R for rotate. Let's rotate it a little bit here on the Z-axis, and then just simply while we're rotating, we're hitting the Shift key so it gets snapped to every 10 degrees till we have -90. Or we could also change this here in cylinder coordinates here, B -90. And let's move it in a little bit. And let's drop in a bool object from here, bool. And then we drop in the cube, and then we drop in the cylinder. Oh, sorry, the cube should be on top. And then you can see we already have a hole here. But the problem is, like I said before, we get now all those triangles. This is because the cube has no points or no edges where the cylinder could connect right now. So this is why we're getting this weird shape. What we could do, we could of course set the cube here, give it more segments. Let's say we give it 20 in the X and 20 in the Y and 20 in Z. And this will make it a little bit better, but as you can see, the geometry is still messed up. So we still have a lot of triangles, lines, and so on floating around. And if we would drop in another subdivision surface and drop the bool in there, and maybe up this even here to 3 in the editor, you can see we still get really, really ugly edges here. So this doesn't really look too good. And we have a lot of edges here floating around in the scene, like those that we can't really need in our phone, because we need to make more cuts and stuff like that, and we might need to use some points. And if all this stuff is floating around on our phone, we can't do much anymore. So this is definitely not the right way to go. And this is exactly what I meant when I said before, don't try to model like this, because that's definitely not right. I mean, for some things it might be okay, like for architectural work and stuff like that, where we also will get in a later course into it a little bit. But for this work right now, it's definitely not possible to use this method, I think. So let's delete this and let's drop in a plane for now. And let's reduce the segments here to 1, 1. And what we would need is 8 points. We always need 8 points to create a perfect circle in sub-D modeling. So let's drop in a cylinder. And right now it's set to 36 rotation segments. And we could change this here to 90. So we have now 90 segments and a way smoother and rounder cylinder. But for now we only need 8 edges. So we have some kind of object in the scene where we know how to align our points to. So we just simply make this plane editable and take our knife tool. And then we will just simply change the mode from line to loop, and then we'll try to make some cuts. So let me try this right now. I think it might be good if we have one exactly in the middle. Let me check this quickly. We can make a cut first of all right here. Let's go to the top view so we can see this a little bit better maybe. Let's change this here, display, make sure it's wireframe and constant shading lines. And we'll make a cut right here. And we'll make a cut right here. And a cut right here in the middle. And then we'll make one cut. Let's make sure that the cut gets through the complete object. Otherwise we will start to run into some problems later on when we continue with modeling the iPhone. So let's make the cut here, and let's make the cut right here. And now we can just simply bring in those points here. Oh, sorry, we need one cut through the middle as well, my fault. So let's make a cuddle here through the middle as well. And now we have our 8 points And now we can bring in here this a little bit and bring it over here. Let's do the exact same thing here and the exact same thing here and the exact same thing here. That's a little bit too high. Bring it over here, bring it down here. So that's good. Let's do the exact same thing up here. Okay, perfect. Perfect. And now we can just simply get rid of our cylinder. We can just simply click on this little arrow here. And as you can see, we have now this thing. If you drop this now, our plane into a subdivision surface, it would like this. It would look like this because we don't have any edge cuts here right now. This is why it gets smoothed out here on the edges. But if we start now to delete those inner polygons that we have here, you will see that we will start to get a perfect hole. Okay, this is how it looks now. It looks exactly like our cylinder. And if we drop this into a subdivision surface, we get our hole. We can now just simply go select or go to point mode, select loop selection. Let's click on select boundary loop. So we really get this loop here. Otherwise, as you can see, sometimes Cinema 4D then struggles a little bit. Okay, what should I select? I'm not 100% sure, but if you go select boundary loop, it will definitely then select this circle here. And now we could just simply go T on our keyboard and scale this out, scale this in, make our hole bigger. If it looks a little bit more oval than circle, we could just simply scale this in like this till it looks like a really good circle. And if we jump out of this or take the plane out of the subdivision surface or just simply click on this arrow here, you will see we're still all quads, so we have no triangles created. We still have everywhere 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So we have no triangles, we have a perfect quad workflow, which is also, like I said before, really important. And now we can try to use this method here on our iPhone, and this is exactly what we will do. So we delete our cube, our plane that we just created in our cylinder, jump back into top view, enable our thing that we have already modeled. And before we do anything, we have to make this editable because the hole is down here, and right now we are working with all those symmetry objects. So we are only working up here right now, which is not really good for us. As you can see, I can't do anything down here because we only have this thing up here. So we need to make this first symmetry here editable. So let's hit the C key. So now I can select those two paths, left and right. If I hit Control A, now we have those. And now I make this symmetry also editable. And as you can see, if I click now on the plane, now everything is editable and we can use everything. So let's just simply move this out here of those null objects. Those null objects, by the way, are not really important. These are just simply placeholders or group holders. You can do some stuff with it, but we will get into this a little bit later on. It's not really that important. If you want to group stuff up, so let's say I have like, I know, a cube, a cone, and a cylinder in our scene. I can just simply go Shift, or let's select the first object, then Shift, select the last object, and I can just simply go Objects, Group Objects, or Alt-G. And then we'll just simply drop it into a null, and now I can move all three objects at once in my scene if I want to. So something like this. Here in the perspective mode you would see it a little bit better maybe. The cylinder is in there now. If I move this out here and the cone over here and then select my null, you will see all three will follow. So this is just a simple explanation about the null object. So let's jump back in our top view and let's try to do this on our plane. So as I said before, we need 8 points. So let's drop in the cylinder so we have some kind of reference. And let's change this here to 8 rotation segments. And in basic, let's press X-ray. And let's bring this in here, over here. And we hit our T key and scale this in till it fits somehow, I think the inner hole. We should start with the inner hole. So let's bring this in, T key again, and then let's scale it till some of the points here hit. Yeah, I think the problem really here is that the scaling of the background image is not absolutely perfect. So this is why we get here some kind of weird thing, and this is not perfect. But yeah, we will just simply try to make a hole now, so I can show you this how this works on the object. Doesn't really matter for now if this is right scaled or background image or not. I mean, normally it should matter, but right now not really. Okay, so let's hit the C key, and let's go to. Oh, we don't really need to hit the C key. Sorry about that. Let's go to our plane. And now we already have some points here, as you can see. So we have this line here, because we have a middle cut in the phone that we did make before. So we don't need this line anymore. And we also have a line that goes over here. So we have exactly a cross. And let's move the cylinder over here maybe a little bit. Let's align it with the lines that we already have in the scene. So something like this, I think, is right. Let me click on the plane. Yeah, perfect. Let me hit Control A. Okay, here is the point. So let's move the cylinder a little bit more downwards. To here, perfect. Let's hit Control A. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Okay, so what we need to do now is we just simply need to make more cuts, of course, to get our 8 points. So we take the knife tool. Oh, sorry, this is the iron tool. Let's take the knife tool and loop. And then we will just simply try to make here another cut. And make here another cut. And now we should be already ready to move our points around in the scene. Let me drop out the plane first of all of the subdivision surface so we can see a little bit better where we are at. And let me maybe go into perspective mode. And now we can just simply move those points here a little bit around like this. And we need to move in this one a little bit and bring this over here. Bring this over here, and then we can move this point, bring it over here, this one a little bit more downwards, this one over here, okay. This point should go down a little bit, okay, and this one should move in a little bit, okay, so we're getting there, looks good to me, all points are set, we can get rid of our cylinder object, and then just simply start to delete all those polygons, and let's drop it into our subdivision surface again. And as you can see, we have a perfect hole and we have a perfect button. And we're still not, we don't have triangled anything. We still have full quads. We have 4 points here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. So this looks pretty good. As you can see, we have 1 point left here in the middle. So this is still in the scene. Let's hit Control A, optimize, and we get, and we get rid of all the unused points that we don't need. One thing that I want to mention right now is that you can run into some, because we made now some cuts here through the complete phone. And the thing is, if we move up here now, sometimes if you're just simply making cuts, that you destroy up here a little bit, because every cut means that you also get at some point harder edges, you know? And the only thing you can really do if something gets messed up here is just simply take those points from those new lines and just simply move them around a little bit. Let's just simply move them away from other points. So as more they are away from other points, the smoother the thing gets again. So if you run ever into some kind of problem where you just simply have too much cuts too close and you don't want those hard edges on those object, just simply take those 2 points and then just simply take the scale tool if you have 2 points and then just simply move them out like this. So we can smooth this out and we don't get any hard cuts that we don't need. So that's really the only thing that you need to do. Okay, The good thing is with those cuts, we also have now made some points that we can already reuse for this object up here. So we could just simply take this out of the subdivision surface and now try to make this thing up here. So we just simply take those points that we already have left here, so we don't have to make extremely much cuts. Try to make as less cuts as possible and use the points that are already there. So we just simply move this point up here, and let's move this point maybe, I'm not sure about this object, but we will see how we can do this. And let's move this point up here and move it a little bit over here. Let's do the exact same thing for this point. And exactly the same thing here. We could also try to make this, by the way, a little bit more accurate so that everything is exactly the same. So if we select this point here, I can see, okay, in the Z-axis right now, it's 163.837 centimeters. So I can just simply go there, select this here with my left mouse button, hit Ctrl-C to copy this value, and then just simply go here and type it in as well. So it's exactly the same height as this point. You could also select just simply more points at once. Just simply hold down the Shift key and select all the points you need. And then you can go set point value. And then we can take, okay, I want to, in this case, the Z-axis. I don't know why this is the Z-axis, by the way. Right now it should be the Y-axis, but with points it's something different, I guess. Then we just simply go set, and then we give in the value, hit enter. And all the points should now have the value of 163. Or let's maybe make it 164, so we have a really nice round number. And as you can see, now all those points should be, if we click on one point, at 164. That's pretty good. And let's select those three, and let's maybe go here, go set point value, and let's maybe set them to 167. Yeah. Looks good to me. Okay, perfect. And let's, for now, just simply delete the polygon so we can see what it looks like, and then we can still start to move some points around. We should, by the way, also set this here to the same X value as this. So this point is at, let's set this point to 10, and let's set this point also to 10. Then we just simply take those 2 points, move them over here. Whoops. Whoopsie. Okay, and let's select those 2 points, and let's set them maybe to 166. No, this was the wrong value, sorry. Let's set them to -11. Maybe, or maybe, I think we have to do this for this point. Solo, and this should be at -11 as well. Okay, let's select those 2 points now and bring them a little bit in. Okay, so let's drop this into the subdivision surface and let's see how this looks like. Okay, let's up maybe the subdivision editor here to 3, so we can see a little bit better what's going on. And I think we need another point exactly here through the middle, and we don't have this right now, so let's drop out the plane. Let's go knife, and let's make another cut right here. And as you can see here, we might run into some problem, because here we have already 2 cuts, as you can see. And if I make a cut now here through the middle, it might be that those points are a little bit too close, but we need to see this after the cutting. So let's make a cut. Shift 50%. Let's make the cut. Let's make also a cut here at 50%. Bada boom, bada bam. Let's drop it into the subdivision surface. Yeah, and now we're getting there a little bit better. And let's move this point out. And now we can take those 2 points and try to get this shape here a little bit better. Let's move it maybe a little bit downwards, this one a little bit upwards, so we can get this shape here really, really good. I think we should move it like this, a little bit more. And then we can take those 3 points, move them in. Yes, sir. And we will do exactly the same here. Alrighty. Move this out a little bit. And I think we need some extra cuts here maybe to make this a little bit smoother. We probably need another cut around here, I guess. And around here. Sometimes it's really only cutting and playing. And I think right now we should maybe get here a little bit closer to the look that we are aiming for. We should bring this in here a little bit more. Yes. And also this point here a little bit more in to get the shape here. Perfect. Now we can do exactly the same here. And exactly the same here. Move this here a little bit more upwards. Move this point a little bit more upwards. This one a little bit more downwards. And this one. And this one. And I think we should be almost good to go. A little bit more downwards. This may weigh a little bit more in. Perfect. And here I think we're already looking pretty good. Okay, alright. And we have made, with some points that we already had and some other stuff, here a really nice hole again. And we already have this shape here of the iPhone 6s up here, where you have your ear normally. So this already looks pretty good. One problem that we have, like I said before, because we did this middle cut here, as you can see now, we're starting to getting here some kind of problem. So here it's not that smooth anymore. So what we need to do, we need to adjust this here a little bit more, or maybe bring this a little bit more down. So we get a little bit more away from this point here, so it gets smoothed out. And we bring this point here a little bit more upwards, this more a little bit downwards, so they're not sticking so hard together. Up here, as you can see, we also get a little bit of a problem, so we need to bring this here up again. And since we are not in symmetry mode anymore, this is really a bad thing right now, but this is just simply what you have to do. We just simply have to adjust everything over and over again. This is just what it is. There is not much we can do about it, to be honest. And let me change this point here way more down. Oh, here we are already overlapping to our other point, so that's not good as well. Which was the line we used before, by the way? I think it was this one. Let me change this point here. Let me take this out of the subdivision surface. Otherwise, okay, this is completely messed up. Sorry, this was my fault. This point should be down here. This point should be up here. And we just simply bring it here. And this one we bring in. For now, this one we will bring in as well. I think I changed the shape of the phone a little bit, to be honest, here on the right side. Looks like it's a little bit overlapping. Might be fine. Let me bring in this point here. This point back into subdivision surface. I mean, this is just really what you have to do. Sometimes you just simply have to sit down and make everything over again. So as you can see, now it looks good. Now we have to fix this. Or we fixed this. This is absolutely perfect. Down here it looks already good. Down here it looks good. So we have fixed our phone. We don't have any hard edges. And if you would render this right now, we could just simply see that it's all looking smooth and we don't have any issues, and we already have our basic shape of our iPhone. So that's really cool, and it's really nice. And it's, as soon as you get into it, I mean, it's so intuitive and so easy, and the model looks really smooth. So that's really cool. What we also could do, maybe as a last thing, we could just simply take out the plane, go into poly mode, hit Ctrl A, go to extrude, and now we could just simply extrude our phone if we want to. Something like this. And let's click here on create caps. So right now there are no caps, as you can see. So as soon as we click on create caps, we also have a cap here right now, as you might have guessed. Let's maybe extrude this. Let's go back and let's maybe extrude this a little bit more. Maybe something like this. Doesn't matter, by the way, if you extrude it down or up. And I think something like this should look good. If we pull this now back into our subdivision surface, we definitely get here, of course, and down here, smoothed edges, which we might also need for the iPhone. So we should do heavy cutting, but we can. So we just simply go back into point mode. And let me change this here from wireframe to isospams for now, so we don't have so many lines that are shown. And let's go knife, and now we can just simply start to make a cut right here. Let's make it maybe in the middle, and let's make it a little bit better. Let's go there, shift key, let's go 50%, and let's make maybe another cut here at 50% now, and another one maybe right here at 50%. And then this also gets a little bit smoothed out. Right now we would need to see how the phone does really look like and how much smoothing we really need, because the iPhone 6 is a little bit round, of course, on the edges. So we would really need to watch out that we don't cutting too close to the upper edge and also down here. And as you can see, also our hole looks a little bit messed up right now. This is because we need to make cuts here now as well. So we would need to make a cut up here and maybe another cut right here, and the exact same thing down here and maybe down here. And let's see what it looks now. As you can see, now we have our hole back. This is pretty cool, and we would need also to do the exact same thing here, because we get now really much smoothing here. If I just change this here to garaging, you can see it looks like this right now. So let's drop it out, go point mode, knife, and we make the exact same thing. Just some close cuts here to the edges. How close you really want those cuts is of course always depending on how round you want this thing to be, or how hard you want the edges to be, of course. I want them really hard for now, so this is why I'm making the 2 cuts up there. And as you can see, we get our basic shape back. And if you render this right now, it should look like this. And if you make this here from the perspective view, it should look like this. And we're getting closer and closer and closer to our iPhone. Okay, so just to make sure that you really have understood what I tried to tell you, is we will also try to model this part down here. So we'll try to model the jack and then this thing, because this can be a little bit hard, because we probably need to cut one line here, then another line here, and another line in the middle. And then we have to use those 3 lines for all those objects over and over again, because we can't make 100 cuts down here, because this would look really strange. And as more cuts we have, the more the points align to each other closer and closer. And then we get really hard edges at some point where we don't want to have any hard edges. So we only can work with 3 lines down here probably. And I will show you how we can do this, and it will be really easy, I guess, in the end. Okay, so thanks for listening for now, and I catch you in the next lessons, and I really hope this was some kind of helpful for you guys.